Welcome back, everybody, to the Playbook here on the Boise Beat. Today, we're going to be talking about head coaching changes around the NFL and Super Wild Card Weekend, baby. Let's go. And we are back after a crazy weekend here in the NFL. As always, I got my main man, my Pops, here with me to discuss the wild weekend. Pops,
Yeah,
welcome back.
thank you, son. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. Let's just dive right into it. Head coaching changes a lot
Heck
around the
yeah.
league. Yeah, of course, we got the GOAT, Bill Belichick, getting let go by the Patriots, mutual agreement, likely. So, who kind of we kind of saw this coming, but nobody really wanted to accept it, especially I'm sure Patriots fans. But it is very sad to see the greatest of all time, just the end of an era.
Yeah, it was crazy because they've been rumored. It's been rumored on Boston TV for weeks now, and fans have been clamoring for it. And yet, once they fired him, they did a survey, and half of the people wanted him back, wanted him to stay. So who knows? But
Yeah,
yeah, it was time to move on.
hey, we know what it's all about, Boston fans. Sometimes you don't even know what you want. You know what I mean?
I hear
You
you.
win, but you don't even know what you want. You know what I mean? Like th- they obviously wanted changes, but sometimes that's not the right answer. You get players that get old, but with a head coach, I think you only get better as you age. Really,
Yeah.
um, you get wiser, you learn from things, but I mean, that guy is the greatest coach of all time,
Yeah.
and that's who we're talking about here. So it's sad to see him go. I'm sure give it a few years, Patriots fans will regret it, just like, when Brady left and he was successful at Tampa Bay. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised to see Belichick do the same thing. Where do you think he's gonna go next?
I don't know, but he ran his course in New England. I think it was time for him to go. Um, there's a lot of good openings out there. I'm sure he's looking for a place that's got a quarterback.
Yeah.
The main thing, that's something he hasn't had the last 3 years. So, of course, that's
Mhm.
what he wants. So you got Chargers, you got Atlanta that's got a high pick, could get a quarterback. So Cowboys
Well,
maybe.
maybe, that's another thing right there we'll get
Just never
into.
know.
We'll get
Never
into
know with
that.
Jerry Jones.
Mike McCarthy,
Yeah.
maybe on the hot seat. We're gonna find out here soon. But let's talk about
Yeah.
Atlanta, because Atlanta, obviously, and I think we all kind of saw it coming for a while. I'm surprised Arthur Smith didn't get booted out of there last year. But what he had done with that team, with all the talent, Bijan Robinson there at running back. You got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who never gets the freaking ball, who's one of the most talented tight ends in the league. So Belichick going over there, maybe drafting a quarterback. Whew, watch out, league.
Yeah, I
You know.
think Atlanta, that's all they needed was a quarterback, and
hmm
they would have their defense is young. I mean, they're an up and coming team.
Yeah, and
So,
defense with Belichick ain't no problem. He'll have that figured out in a year or
no,
two.
he'll
That's
figure
his
it out.
specialty.
He'll
And
bring people in that will figure it out.
yeah, and Chargers a great option because of a young, proven quarterback, franchise guy right there, Justin Herbert, who is phenomenal. And then also the Cowboys. They have a lot of like pieces in place already. You got Pollard, you got Prescott, you got a whole defense to work with. Micah Parsons, one of the best defensive players in the league, young one at that. So,
I
that's not a
think,
bad option at
yeah,
all. That'd be dangerous.
yeah. I think one of the reasons he left was because he had a hard time drafting, being the GM, player personnel, president of the player personnel,
Yeah.
and coach. And now, if he wants to go somewhere else and do the same thing, that's going to limit him quite a bit to which teams he can go to.
Yeah, for sure. He wasn't drafting the same as he had in years past. That was the downfall. He used to be able to pay guys cheap, and keep winning and plug in and replace, but when you're not drafting the same, you see it's you can't keep going on like that forever. So,
Yeah.
missed on some draft picks for sure. But Bill Belichick wasn't the only firing. Also, another GOAT, the college football Nick Saban's gone. The end of an era there
Wow.
as well.
And
How crazy
nobody's
is
seen it
that?
coming, let me tell you.
Nobody, yeah, that's insane. It's kind of sad to see two of the greatest, leaving where they're iconic, And I'm sure Belichick will figure it out wherever he goes, but Saban looks like he's retiring for good. That's sad. But another big firing with a really good coach. You got the Seahawks losing Pete Carroll for the year. Well, for good, actually had him step down. He didn't want to step down, but they had him step down, which is kind of sad to see, especially for all he's done over there, all the success he's had with, minimal talent over the years, phenomenal coach there.
Yeah, it caught him by surprise. He didn't see that one coming, and
Hmm.
he still wants to stay on as an advisor, but what young coach wants to have him, looking over their shoulder? So who knows?
Yeah,
He
that one's sad to see.
he
He's in
coach
he's in
he
the
might
our
find
division,
another
but
place to coach.
yeah, I think that'd be best for him. Go somewhere he's
Yeah.
appreciated.
I mean, he's 72 years young. In fact, that's what all three of these coaches have in common. I think they're all like 72 years old. That's crazy, huh? All
Yeah.
of them going, the top three are all 72 years old.
Well, that leads us to another coach who actually is quite the opposite. Was the youngest head coach when he came into the league. Was the youngest head coach to go to win a Super Bowl, I believe. Mike Tomlin. At the time they won the Super Bowl, I believe he was the youngest. But he walked out of that post game presser today. They asked him about his future, and he walked off. Is it the end of him in Pittsburgh?
I don't think he's going anywhere. Pittsburgh's had three coaches in the last, since 1960s. I don't think he's going anywhere unless he wants to go.
Yeah,
Unless
and
he's getting burned out. I mean, they haven't won a playoff game in 6 years, but
well,
they've
I'd
only
I'd
made it.
imagine I'd imagine it's pretty easy to get burnt out when you don't have a quarterback after all these years. It's
Well, he
pretty
had
tough.
Roethlisberger for quite a while.
But since
Find out
Roethlisberger, it's
now he's
been a
finding out the
quarterback
other side
carousel.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that's a big thing too, because a lot of teams around the league, you see them new head coach almost every year. And then you got a team like the Steelers who they don't really let go of coaches. They've
No.
been they stick with their guy, which you can appreciate, in a league that's full of changes, always wants a new thing, the young guy as well. You saw it with Sean McVay, but it's refreshing to see the Steelers, still very traditional, the way they run things.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some big changes this year on the coaching side. Obviously, we'll get to McCarthy. Who knows if he'll still be around, what's going on over there in Dallas after a crazy weekend. But, let's talk playoffs. So let's start with the first one of the weekend, which we talked about. How about them boys? Yeah. Which we talked about CJ Stroud, the rookie, against the old vet, Joe Flacco. And CJ Stroud looked real good out there.
Yeah. And he looked awesome, man. 300 some yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns. That was crazy, man. He just against the number 1 rated defense too. That's what
Well,
blew my mind, man. I mean,
number 2, because they got the number 1 coming up now. He's got Baltimore.
oh yeah, but also they had the number 1 pass defense. So
Mhm.
and so that nobody's seen that coming. Like Cleveland
I
coach
can
said,
say I
it
did. I
was it
did
was a
call it
bad.
last week, but
He picked a bad day to have a bad day for their defense, son. Yeah,
oh,
but
for sure.
Stroud's the real deal. You never
Oh,
know.
yeah. And, the reason why I picked Houston in that game against a dominant defense like the Browns is because I think if you look around, the ultimate equalizer against a top-notch defense, it's very disciplined, sticks to their roles, everybody does their job. The ultimate equalizer is a quarterback who can move. You can move in the pocket, extend plays, because a broken down play, nobody, no matter how good you are, is going to be able to guard for that long, if you can roll out and still be able to throw the ball and also be a threat to run it. But the way CJ Stroud can extend plays, get out of the pocket and just move around in there, and the instincts that he has as a young guy, I mean, that's the ultimate equalizer. That's why I honestly would not be surprised to see them put up a big time fight here coming up against Baltimore.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised either. I
Yeah,
mean, Cleveland, Joe Flacco, 38 years old, soon to be 39. I mean, they were staying in that game for a while there. It was 14-10. Cleveland was up. But then he threw 2 pick sixes, and that's the great equalizer in any playoff game. You
That'll do
throw
it,
2
huh?
pick sixes,
That'll do
man, you
it.
score 14 points for the other team. Yeah, that will not
Yeah.
work. You're
Yeah,
not gonna
that'll
win a game. I don't remember anybody ever winning a game throwing 2 pick sixes. Yeah, so,
well, that's a great
that
point
took
right
care of
there,
that game.
Yeah, definitely. No, but and then we got the next game. You wanna talk about a struggling offense, Tua Tagovailoa. Obviously, the talk coming
Oh, wow.
into that game about him was, from Hawaii, played in Alabama for college, where it's
Yeah.
most of the time it's warm, and then gets drafted by Miami, very warm weather place, and then now all of a sudden has to go to Kansas City, and all the talk about is how they have not won a game when the temperature is below 40 degrees, and it showed on Saturday night because
Yeah.
it was horrendous, that offense.
Oh, yeah, they're like we said last week, their playoff game, their real playoff started against the Buffalo Bills the week before. Now
Yeah,
they win that game, they probably get 2 games at home
yeah,
and in the warm weather, but they didn't win that game,
hmm,
and the Bills won it, so now they're at home, and Miami had to go to the cold. It was like -30 wind chill. It was crazy. It was
yeah,
so cold that Kansas City quarterback Mahomes, his helmet broke.
yeah,
He broke his
and
helmet.
Andy
Put
Reid's
a crack in the
mustache was
crack.
frozen.
Yes.
The mustache was frozen out there.
Oh, yeah, he looked like a walrus. That's exactly what he looked like.
Hey, you leave my boy Andy Reid alone, all right?
Yeah,
It's hard not to love Andy Reid. What a great coach, but no,
yeah,
and you could definitely tell the experience there too. Um, Obviously Kansas City doesn't have the talent that they've had in the past, but when you have a coach like Andy Reid, you always got a shot. You got a quarterback, you got the coach too. You always got a shot, and especially at home. It's tough to beat
yeah.
those guys in Arrowhead.
And then Miami came in with their 2 best pass rushers out. They lost 2 or 3 linebackers that week before the game.
Hmm.
Their
Yeah,
top all-pro defensive back, Xavier Howard, was out. I mean, that's like playing defense with one hand tied behind your back.
yeah.
And in the cold, there was no way they were going to win that game.
Yeah, injuries down the stretch killed Miami, and that's all we have been stressing about since we've started this show was being healthy come playoff time.
Exactly.
And terrible luck there for Miami, but how about let's talk about Green Bay and Dallas cuz the only thing that
Oh,
was hurt with Dallas is Cowboys fans everywhere. I mean, real hurt cuz they thought this was their year. I thought this was if any year, this one would be the year. That was
well,
pretty
they
brutal.
won 17 straight at home. They hadn't lost at home in almost 2 years, you know. And
Yeah.
here comes Green Bay, the youngest team in the league, but they got a young gun quarterback, man, one of the best young guys in the league. And he just tore them up. Their defense was not ready at all. I mean, I've never seen he went through him like butter through cheese. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Those cheeseheads from Green Bay, man.
Yeah.
They were like,
No,
it was
that definitely
crazy,
is.
man. They went through him
Yeah.
like nothing, man.
Yeah. It was pretty bad. And I remember we were watching the game and Green Bay decided to take the ball first. And we said once they scored, they might have
Yeah.
won the game right there. Because, anybody, I think it was Mike Tyson that once said, everybody is tough until you get punched in the mouth. And with the
Yep.
bully like the Cowboys, you gotta be able to take the fight to them. You gotta be able to impose your will and make them play your game. And Green Bay, for being as outmatched as they
Yeah.
are and as young as they are, they definitely did that. They wanted to make sure that they, take the fight to them, scored on the first possession, start to get Dallas in their head a little bit, like, oh shoot, like, start to get them out of their own game. And then that pick came and Green Bay scored again, and it looked like, oh shoot, this game could
Two
get
two pick
ugly
sixes
pretty quick.
before you know it. It was like 14-0. 2 pick sixes. Next thing you know, it's 28-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Cowboy fans are already leery of Dak Prescott. And so that did not help matters. And then you
No, I
got
did not.
him at his press conference, when they're talking about maybe McCarthy needs to go, the coach. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, that's who helped me become the quarterback I am this year. He says, if he needs to leave, what does that say about me? And so that opened him up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do with him? Because
Oh, well, I wasn't thinking about it, but now that you mention
like
it, yeah,
once
what
you
about you?
mention that,
Yeah.
yeah,
But, you know,
he shouldn't open that up.
no, you shouldn't have. But I was not a fan of the McCarthy hiring from the beginning. I've told Cowboys fans is like he's not going to be the answer for you to win a Super Bowl. I mean, especially a big market team like Dallas, you're not playing to make the playoffs every year. You do that already. You're playing to win a Super Bowl. And nobody's done that for you. And I think if Mike McCarthy got one Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers through all those good years and didn't build a team around him, I think that shows a lot about what kind of coach he is, and I remember that game after that Seattle game when Green Bay played Seattle and they blew that big lead late to Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. And he came out and he blamed their kick returner that fumbled the ball. And I
Yeah, he
think
was
that
supposed to
said,
fair catch it, and he ran
mhm,
it back.
but I
Yeah,
think that said everything about him when he blamed it all on one guy who made one mistake after all the missed play calls and all that led up to that. I'm no game comes down to just one play. There's so many things that happen throughout a game, and to blame it all on one guy that's your guy, I think that shows all you need to know about a leader. Your head coach. So I was never a fan of McCarthy. I
yeah,
hope for Dallas' sake and their future, I hope they look elsewhere. But I just don't think
mm.
he's the answer.
I don't know. He's got 1 year left on his contract. The last 3 years, he's gone 12-5, won 2 East titles, NFC East titles. Ah, man, I don't know. That's a
Well,
tough one. Jerry Jones, he's all about playoff wins, but they haven't won with McCarthy or anybody else there. So
I mean,
as
you can
far
go
as
12.
playoffs go,
But that's what I'm saying, though. You don't play to make it to the playoffs. You don't play to win a game or two in the playoffs every year. You play to win a Super Bowl. And you can go 12-5 all you want every year. But if you're not even making it to the conference championship and maybe once or twice, but you're not making it even to the Super Bowl, much less winning it, then what are you doing? What are you playing for? Are you playing for participation trophies in the playoffs? Who cares you go 12-5? I mean, really, you get into the dance, you're hoping to take that trophy home, you know? You're not going there just to make it and say you went,
yeah,
but
Dallas is always a make or break. It's playoffs, it's championship or bust. And they've been bust for like 29, 28 straight years now. So
mhm.
they haven't even
Well,
made the NFC championship in
yeah,
28 years.
but speaking of 3 decades, without some playoff success, how about the Detroit Lions? Wow,
Detroit.
what a game. It
Yeah.
hurts to even say it. I mean, you can tell my face I didn't even wanna say it because they beat the Rams, but, what a great game. No, it was. It was a phenomenal
Yeah.
game.
It was a heck of a game. I mean, the first half started out like it was going to set records. It was 21-17 at halftime.
Mhm,
And the second half was more like a baseball score, 6-3.
mhm.
Unfortunately, the Rams were down by 4 and they only gained 3 points. So it was a great game. I mean, the coach put it in Goff's hands at the end, get a first down,
Let him go
have the
do it.
Rams get the ball back, and he did it. So kudos to him and the
Freaking
Lions.
did it. Ah, that one hurts. Well, no, it was a great game, and you saw the second half adjustments, and completely different ball game in the second half, and you could tell there was a lot of nerves in there too. Like, who's gonna take this game? The defense has stepped up big time, and changed the whole ball game. And I think the story of the game for the Rams not winning that game was same thing that's been bothering them all year. You see, it's not running it in the red zone, just red zone inefficiencies in general. Like,
Yeah.
not scoring touchdowns, only getting field goals, because obviously you saw right there, losing by 1 point. I mean, a touchdown instead of 1 field goal, you're up, what, 3 points?
Yeah. And the funny thing was
Changes everything.
Detroit was the second worst in giving up touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah.
And the Rams kicked 3 field goals instead of even getting 1 touchdown in the red zone. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's terrible play
the
calling.
game.
Yeah,
Really was.
when you got a running back like Kyron Williams who's got a nose for the end zone, and you don't give him the ball, that's just terrible play calling. But kudos to Detroit because a lot of people want to talk about this game and the Rams trying to go in there for the upset, and saying Matthew Stafford this, Matthew Stafford that. But the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff really taking that game, and doing it for the city of Detroit. It's hard not to love that football team and root for them. They're definitely the good guys. And you can tell with the head coach like Dan Campbell, we've talked about them before, but
Yeah.
and then there's a viral video of Brad Holmes, the old GM of the Rams, coming to Detroit, and he was in
Oh,
the
yeah.
stream and he was so hyped, and you could feel the emotions. That's 30 years, and you come over to a city and do that for them, you're gonna be loved forever in Detroit, and you can see that in his emotions, and that was really cool. Honestly, hard not to root for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, and the rest of Detroit. It'd be cool to see him make a run.
Yeah, before Brad Holmes, they had so many high draft picks, but they never hit on him.
Mhm.
And he gets there, and whoa, talk about a haul he got from the Rams for Jared Goff. I mean, Mafunda, their defensive lineman, was the first one
Mhm.
with the first pick, and then he trades a bunch more. He gets Sam Laporta. Who else did he get? He got Amon St. Brown,
He got Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs, and a couple other starters. That was crazy, man. He turned the rest of those picks, 2 picks, into about 5 players. So you got those 5, 6 players, and then on the other side you got Matthew Stafford by himself, but he's holding the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah.
The Rams got a championship out of it.
Yeah, you can't
So,
argue that. I mean,
as
that's
far
what
as
you
the
play
Rams are
for.
concerned, we take that.
But you naming off all those players, you could just see the
Oh
pain in
yeah,
my eyes right there. That
they
one.
rebuilt right there just for that
They
trade. They
did.
got the
Oh, yeah.
quarterback and all their stars, most of their
Yeah.
stars right there.
Set them up for years to come. They kept putting the camera on Eminem, because he's, of course, he's big in Detroit. NFL is just posting him a lot to advertise this game. And, I'm tired of Eminem after watching Detroit take that game from the Rams. I started thinking about it like when I rewatch 8 Mile, I'm just going to be rooting for Papa Doc, over B Rabbit. He was kind of the good guy, honestly. Like, B Rabbit was really choking like that. You know what I mean? He wasn't all that great.
Yeah,
No, I'm just real salty, but let's get into the next set of games, which was today's games. The
yeah,
Bills and Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah,
Another cold weather game.
yeah, but both teams are used to playing in the cold, so that wasn't that big a
Mhm.
deal. So,
Yeah, I expected more snow. It was obviously very, very
well,
cold,
they
but
had all their snow the weekend.
yeah, they
They're
they
still
they
digging
barely
out for the
yeah,
game.
they barely got it cleaned before game time. They had fans out there all weekend cleaning that up,
Well,
which
they
was
didn't
really
get it
cool.
cleaned by game time. They had fans coming in with their own scrapers and stuff, cleaning their own seats off
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
they only got about half of it cleaned out.
Yeah, and I just want to take a sec to talk about Bills fans because who doesn't love Bills fans? If you're a fan of the NFL, I mean, you got guys out there in, less than 10-degree weather with their shirts off, jumping onto tables, WWE style, shotgunning brewskis. It's
Yeah,
hard not to like Bills fans. And hopefully later this week, we can have a good friend of ours, Chris Perry, on here, a big time Bills fan. After
yeah,
that win, I would love to have him on here, talk some Bills football. But unbelievable football they've been playing. Josh Allen really just bringing that team back to life as of late. Playing a different brand of football as we've talked
yeah,
about. But they really took it to the Steelers today. And there's just not much they can do, as we talked about. No quarterback. No proven quarterback. No disrespect to Mason Rudolph after you called him a pumpkin last week and said that him getting hit in the head with the helmet might have fixed him. But
I helped him.
what'd you
Did
see
help him
from
for a while. Not
what'd you
this
see?
game though.
Yeah.
And
What'd you see from this game?
well, the Bills. They're one of the hotter teams come into the game. They won 5 in a row to end the season, and this makes 6 in a row. I mean, they beat the Dolphins just to get home field advantage. And Allen was just their quarterback. Jared Allen was just
Josh Allen.
crazy, man. Josh Allen. He was
There's
crazy today.
There's just something about the name Allen. You know what I mean? He's a
I hear
stud.
you. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I
But
can't put my finger on it, but
they go how Josh Allen goes, and
absolutely.
he had a great day today.
Yeah.
He took a 52-yard touchdown, ran it to the house.
That was filthy. Yeah.
And he was just money all day on his throws.
Mm-hmm. The guy,
and
man.
Cook over 100 yards rushing, I believe. Yeah,
And
they did whatever they wanted, really.
Oh yeah, and that's what we talked about all year. All the last few weeks since we've been doing this is giving the ball to Cook. Running the ball, short passes. Just so much more efficient. Not necessarily going for the big time plays. But really marching your way down the field and making the defense adjust. You know what I mean? Like being disciplined. Which Josh Allen always had the big arm. Wanting to go deep, but the way they played this brand of football, it's hard to see anyone beating them because when Josh Allen is throwing the ball like this, he's almost unstoppable. And he's got a rematch with Patty Mahomes next week. I can't wait. I'm so hyped for that one.
Yeah. And the Pittsburgh started to come back, but Mason Rudolph threw that pick in the end zone, and that
one
pretty
hurt.
much. Yeah. That was the big one there.
Yeah, they were starting to make a run. It was 14-0, I believe, right before halftime, right? When he threw that pick. Yeah, that was
that changed the game.
Yeah, that was a momentum killer right there because, you really felt like, oh, shoot, you score right before halftime. This defense, as well coached as they are and as talented as they are, you always got a shot. If you can keep the game close with a defense like that, and that's Tomlin's thing. Like, what do they say his record was? 9-2 this year in 1-score games?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Obviously, they were, 0-6 in every other game? Obviously getting beat by, 2 scores, but
yeah. They tried to muck it up and keep it close, and they almost did it, but then too late. A couple late scores just put it away.
Yeah, sometimes, you can't play that ugly brand of football, you know what I mean, where you win ugly come playoff time because, you need talent. Talent wins at the end of the day. Like with the Rams, I think the best way to put it with a team like that, they played above their talent level all year to get to the playoffs. And, because they were all heart. But once you get into the playoffs, you need heart and talent.
Yeah.
And the Rams didn't have enough of that this year. And obviously the Steelers, it's so sad to see because every single year they got everything else except a quarterback. And it's just, it sucks to watch that. You know what I mean? Like, who wants to see that in the playoffs? But like when you have all the pieces and you just need a quarterback, like what are we waiting for? Like I was not a fan of Kenny Pickett. You were.
I was.
I still am.
I still think he could be a good quarterback.
He got benched for Mason Rudolph. What are we doing?
Well, he got hurt, and then Mason Rudolph took over. So anyway, they need. If Kenny Pickett can't do it here soon, then they got to get a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. If you're getting benched for Mason Rudolph.
He regressed this year, actually. He had a decent year last year, but he regressed this year, definitely, for whatever reason.
I think Gordy's saying we have some audio issues. I don't know if we're good now or if we're going to need to do something.
Yeah, I feel like I can still hear you.
Yeah, I can still hear you too. We can just edit this stuff out. But, that was a good game right there. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, but let's get into the last one of the day, last one of Super Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. Obviously, the battle of mediocre to end Super Wild Card Weekend. But Tampa Bay obviously getting in from a very poor division this year, but playing with a lot of heart. I mean, Baker Mayfield been playing hurt, but the guy's a dog. He's got all heart.
He's always been a dog.
Oh yeah. And it's hard not to love the guy. He plays with so much heart. So to even get him there and then Philadelphia, who was 10-1, and then 1-6 to end the year, with 1-7 now to end the year.
Yeah, they
Very
lost 6
disappointing.
out of their last 7.
Yep. What do you think that says about Nick Sirianni and the rest of the Eagles? Where do they go from here?
Well, I think he made a major mistake as soon as he put in Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator. Oh my Lord. That guy should have retired after New England.
Oh my gosh,
I
that guy's
mean
not been the same since
you
he
might
left
have him
Belichick.
as your linebacker coach, maybe, or an assistant somewhere, maybe assistant linebacker coach. But he panicked and he made him the defensive coordinator and demoted the defensive coordinator. And it just made matters worse. You know, when your
Oh
coach
yeah.
panics and the players know it, they can
Mm-hmm.
see it. And
Yeah.
I feel like they felt it, you know.
They definitely did there in Philly. I mean, that's rough sledding right there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
Matt
Jalen Hurt.
Patricia.
Yeah.
Remember when he obviously had the short tenure here in Detroit?
Oh Lord.
Leaves New England the first time, and I was brutal because you hear all the stories that came out of Detroit from his
Nobody
time there.
liked him.
Yeah, he did not have any good reviews after that
No.
short time in Detroit, but comes back to New England. Belichick will always bring anybody back for cheaper, but brought him back. And I remember when they made him the offensive coordinator, and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Mac Jones already struggling, then you bring Matt Patricia in to coach the offense. Yeesh.
Yeah, that was brutal. I'm not going to lie, that was really brutal. I mean, Jones had a good rookie year.
Yeah.
He had a pretty good rookie year, and then they make Matt Patricia the offensive coordinator. That
Yeah.
that set him back 2 years. The poor quarterback
Yeah.
has recovered from
Set
it
him back 2
since.
years. No, but, Tampa Bay showing a lot of heart, and to go out there and get
Yeah,
that win because that was theirs for the taking. And, some teams, don't show up, rise to the occasion. Baker
oh
Mayfield
yeah,
did. But
yeah,
no, kudos to them for, battling all year to get there. Obviously I haven't had the same team as years past, but, you know, whether you got a bad division or not, you play what's in front of you and you
yep.
make the best out of it, and they really have. So kudos to them. You said the Bucks won how many games to end the year?
They won 5 in a row to end the year just to get
Mhm.
in the playoffs. So they're a pretty hot little team. Baker
Yeah.
Mayfield played through a lot of injuries and
Yeah.
got a lot of gut. His contract was mostly incentives. I
Yeah.
don't know if he made 6 or 7 million this year. Well, the quarterbacks are making 30 something.
That's one way to do it, man.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
bet on himself. And
yeah.
now look at him.
Yeah. And I still think he could have benefited from one more year, learning from Stafford and McVay, but you can't knock a guy for really just betting on himself and saying, you know what, I'm just gonna go out there and prove it. And he really has, and it's cool to see a guy like that succeed. You always want to see a guy win that's not afraid to bet on himself for sure. What a dog!
Yep, he's made him some money. I guarantee you that.
Oh yeah,
28 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Now a playoff game. Oh yeah, somebody's gonna get paid.
man, that's a lot of money. I'm just waiting for
Yeah,
an NFL team to call me up, man. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to earn some incentives.
I know you
Win
are,
some
son.
win some playoff games, baby. Let's go.
Hey, you're too old right now.
Too old. I'm just getting
Yep.
started, baby. No, let's talk about the divisional round coming up. Because we do got some fun matchups. We got Texans Ravens, we got Bills Chiefs once again. Can't wait for that one. And then we got Bucks Lions, and we got Niners Packers. Let's talk about the new ones first. Let's talk about those ones first. The new matchups, the possible new rivalries. But you got Texans Ravens. The young CJ Stroud versus
Yeah.
the man right now, Lamar Jackson, the MVP himself.
MVP. Yeah.
The number one team in the league, and it's going to be very interesting to see this young Texans team. They're really going to see what they're made of. I think they played week 1 this year, where the Ravens won. It's a pretty low scoring game, but they won by I think 2 touchdowns. This one's gonna be a lot better though. A lot better matchup.
I think it will. I mean, D'Amico Ryan's going to have them ready. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
be playing at home now. They're going to be playing in cold weather,
Mm-hmm.
and they're used to being down in Texas. So
Ooh, and indoors,
yeah,
but they're usually
down
in
in
Houston.
Texas and indoors. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
now we're going to see what they're really made of.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be cold in Baltimore.
going down to Baltimore. Ooh, you
It's
know
going to be interesting.
that's gonna be a fun one for sure. Who you got in that one? You got Ravens pulling that one out.
I have to take Ravens on that one. It might be
Yeah,
close, and then again, you never know. It might not be. But
yeah,
Stroud, I wouldn't bet against Stroud though.
yeah,
As far as keeping it close, I don't think he wins it though.
yeah. I think
If he'd been
they're just
home, I think he would have had a chance.
yeah. I think they're just they're not quite there yet to go take a game like this. You know, they're a little too young. I think Stroud will be in this conversation though for years to come. I definitely
Oh
don't think
yeah,
this will be the last
definitely.
we've seen of him. If he does lose, because who knows, he might pull one out.
Yeah.
But no, that's gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to that one. And who knows, maybe later this week, if we do another episode, our answers might change. This is just kind of you know, live reaction Monday, to the weekend that just happened. But let's go to another game. That's also a new matchup, possibly new rivalry, the Bucks Lions. What you think of that one, Pops?
Yeah, the Bucks and who they playing?
Detroit. Detroit
Detroit.
versus everybody,
Oh
baby.
yeah,
You
yeah.
already know.
I know it could have been the Rams, but
Could have
going
been,
down
could
to
have, would have,
there.
should have.
But we got Detroit, and they won one game. Can they do? Can they win two? I don't see why not. They're
We'll
home
see why
again.
not. I mean, you've already
I
made it this
mean,
far. Why not just win another one, right? Why
and
not
then
just do it for the city of
yeah,
Detroit, baby? I mean, you already got one. You know what's better than one, Pops?
uh, two
Yeah, that's right.
or
2.
three. Yeah, two for
Oh,
sure.
whoa, yeah, pump the brakes, all right? You get through this one, but yeah, 3 would be nice, but if they see the Niners or a division rival like the Packers,
Yeah,
yeesh.
wouldn't that be something? They
I
already
think
battled. Packers beat them on Thanksgiving.
yeah, I think either way, that's gonna be a good match if
Oh
Detroit
yeah,
make it there.
people laughed
Ooh.
at Detroit when they got beat
Oh, I
by
know.
Green Bay, and
And you
then all of a sudden nobody's laughing now.
Yeah, and all year people were saying, "Oh, you got the elite teams, the tier 1. You got the Niners, Ravens, Cowboys. And then in the tier 2, you got the
And the
Lions."
Eagles, they thought the
Yeah,
Eagles at that time.
and people all year disrespected the Detroit Lions all freaking year. And look at them now. You know, the Cowboys are out. Obviously the Eagles are out, a lot of good teams already out. The Rams, who people thought might make a run, and a lot of people thought Rams were going to win that game against
Yeah,
Detroit, but them to keep proving people wrong, you just love to see it. They're just some dogs over there in Detroit, and it's hard not to root for them. So hopefully
yeah.
they keep this run going. But who you got? Bucks Lions. You think Baker Mayfield goes and steals one in Detroit?
I love Baker Mayfield. I love his competitiveness, but no, I
Not a
think
shot.
Detroit's no. I think Detroit takes care of him. I think I
Yeah.
think I think Detroit makes him walk the plank. To tell you the truth,
Oh, they're gonna make Tampa Bay walk their own plank.
that's right.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
can't
can't
wait.
see it any other way.
I just love NFL football, baby. It's playoffs.
This
That's
time of
gonna be
year, man, it doesn't get any better, right?
oh yeah. I mean, Detroit, they played just like Dan Campbell said, they're gonna bite your kneecaps off.
Yeah,
They did a little bit more than that. They hurt a few Rams players last week, and they hurt my feelings if I'm being completely honest. But
yeah.
they play real tough football. They play that playoff football. So that's gonna be a good one. But now let's go to the rivalries that have already been building for years. Let's start. You know what? I want to save the Bills Chiefs for last, but let's talk Packers Niners. Because first off, I want to mention, a tradition like no other. The Packers beating the Cowboys in the playoffs. Jordan Love carrying that quarterback tradition, of Rodgers. First, he owns the Bears going into the playoffs, and
Yeah.
then he takes it to the Cowboys and breaks their heart again. America's team breaks
Oh man.
people's hearts all around the nation. just like Aaron Rodgers once did, and keeping that tradition going. But Aaron Rodgers, every time he'd get through the Cowboys, who was waiting for him? Every time.
49ers.
That's right. And he could never get it done.
Nope.
Not his last few years in Green Bay, because Niners have been a very, very good football team, and they've
Nope.
matched up very well with the Packers. This is a little bit different Packers team, different kind of style of football, but a lot more youthful. Do you think more of the same, or do you think Jordan Love is gonna,
I think
you know,
Jordan Love's going to surprise some people. But I
you
think
think
in
so?
the end, 49ers going to have too much firepower.
You think so?
I mean, if the 49ers stop the run, Aaron Jones had 3 straight games,
Hmm.
maybe 4 straight games now of 100 yards, over 100 yards. If they can stop Aaron Jones and make Packers one-dimensional, I think they got a really good chance. But if they run on the 49ers and use up clock, keep the Niners offense off the field, ooh, baby, that's going to be a good game.
Oh yeah, and I think
The
it's more
youngest
so.
team in the league.
Mhm. And I think it's more so LaFleur versus Shanahan.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody that's come from Shanahan's coaching tree, whether it's McVay, whether it's LaFleur, they've had those rivalry games, deep in the playoffs. But McVay has had luck one game beating him in the playoffs. Other than that, Shanahan has completely owned him, and he has completely owned LaFleur, especially in the playoffs, because it has not been pretty. There have been some blowouts with an
Yeah.
MVP Aaron Rodgers, like him at his best and getting just destroyed in the playoffs by
Yeah.
Shanahan. So, it's going to be interesting to see, because a lot of people didn't. I know we didn't, give the Packers really a shot going into that Cowboys
Yeah.
game. Nobody at all throughout the world really gave the Packers a shot, and they went out there and took it to the Cowboys.
Even Green Bay fans didn't think they were going to win.
No, they did not. My brother Tommy likes to act like he
Yeah.
like he saw it coming the whole time, but
Yeah.
I
He
saw his
admitted. He,
I saw his bets. He had Cowboys. It's
yeah.
sad to see, but
Well, think about the Green Bay. They're so young. They don't know what they don't know. They're
exactly.
just out there having fun.
Yeah, they're just
You know,
happy to be out there.
they're
So,
just having a blast. So,
oh, they sure did. They sure did there in Dallas.
yep.
But San Francisco next. It's gonna be a tough one. But all right, let's get to the last one, my personal favorite of all these matchups. Let's talk Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Baby, let's go. What do you think about
Can
this one?
Josh Allen finally get his revenge, man?
Do you think he does it? You
Mahomes
think
keeps
he does?
knocking him out. But I don't know. The NFL, man, they really, really kind of screwed the Bills over.
Also,
Kansas City played what, Saturday? Didn't they play Saturday? Yeah,
yeah,
they
they did.
did. Bills played Monday. They got 2 less days to
Yeah,
prepare.
that is true. I didn't
Yeah,
think. I thought one
and
day,
that's
but
not
2 days.
right. I don't know why the NFL had a Monday night game, 'cause
Mhm.
everybody that played got less time than
Yeah.
anybody else to prepare.
Well, the Bills game, remember, that was actually supposed to be scheduled for,
Yeah, yesterday.
for early yesterday.
Yesterday.
So
I know.
technically,
Yeah, but still
so
they got
that's why.
but
But
but they still got 2 less days to,
mhm,
uh, to get ready, and
that's true.
could that play a significance? But, of course, the Chiefs have to travel.
Yeah, they sure do. But also
So
remember, in years past, Mahomes has not really had any road playoff games. He's had
no, he's always
home
been at
field
home.
advantage all the way to the Super Bowl, almost every single year since he's been the starter.
Yeah.
And that's when he's beat the Bills in some very close games, some heartbreaking games for the Bills. But this one's in Buffalo, baby. What? I don't know. I think it's gonna be different. I think Josh Allen gets his revenge. I think he's gonna take it to him,
I
and that's
think
gonna
he
be a
is
fun one
too.
to watch. And
I
man,
mean Kansas City limped into the playoffs.
yeah,
They were a shell of their team, of their usual self, and then they came out and they played Miami, made them look
hmm
good again, but
hmm
they play a really good team in the cold, a team that's
hmm
used to the cold. I'd like to see how that turns out. And as usual, it's going to come down to turnovers. Who turns the
hmm
ball over, who doesn't. I
Yep.
mean, that's a great equalizer. So if Buffalo doesn't turn the ball over And you never know with Josh Allen, then I like their chances. I really like their chances.
No, for sure. And
It's about time they
that's gonna
come
be a
up with
fun one.
that.
Yeah, and oh man, I'm hurting really because I look forward every year to the playoffs, especially in the AFC with all the good quarterback play, and all the rivalries building and just the matchups that like every single matchup could be exciting, if you got
Yeah.
everybody healthy. But my guy Joey is out this year.
Who's
I
that?
think Joey
Oh,
Burrow,
yeah.
and who I personally think is the best quarterback in the league when he's healthy. And so to not have him as exciting as he is in the playoffs, not having him out there, not having Herbert in there, not having Trevor Lawrence make the playoffs, it kind
Yeah.
of sucks to not be able to see that, with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Pat Mahomes, to where every single matchup could be who knows, with those quarterbacks. And, no disrespect for the Steelers, but I mean, when you gotta watch a game with Mason Rudolph,
Mhm.
head out there onto the field and even Joe Flacco, you know what I mean? Like he's getting older. I get it. He's been playing well, but you know, there's certain guys that can you put out on the field and it's any given Sunday, no matter the
No.
team they got, like a guy like Herbert, as good as he is, you never know who he can beat, Trevor Lawrence, Joey Burrow, it's just hasn't been the same, I feel like, for me. But
And like
next year I think it's gonna be real nice, real fun.
be before the season started, all they were talking about the young quarterbacks in the AFC,
Hmm.
all the old quarterbacks in the NFC. Now you got NFC, you got Love, you got Goff, who's pretty young.
Hmm.
They got a few young quarterbacks too that are gonna
Yeah.
be taking over here soon.
And who knows, Caleb Williams could be there in Chicago next year.
Yeah,
If
who knows?
I don't know, he's saying that if the Bears draft him, he says that the Bears need to promise to not draft him so he can enter the draft.
That's funny.
That dude is
Yeah.
such a diva, such a diva. Oh man, I'm not excited for when that guy gets to the NFL. But
Well,
who knows? Maybe he'll mature a bit, and really take the league by storm because he's got all the talent in the world. But nobody wants to see all this, wanting ownership of the football team. It's
yeah.
nonsense. As a rookie, you haven't earned nothing yet. But who knows? This guy, a lot of people are saying his ceiling. He's the next Pat Mahomes, so apparently. But a lot of good young quarterbacks coming up in the draft next year. It's gonna be fun.
Yep. So this next weekend should be interesting.
Oh yeah, I can't
And
wait,
we'll be
baby.
down to 4,
Yep. And then there was
2 in
fall
each
this weekend.
conference
Yep.
for a
Yeah.
chance to
So
go to the Super Bowl, man.
yeah, hopefully we can get my guy Chris on here later this week. Big time Bills fan. That'll be fun to talk some football with him. As crazy
Yeah.
as those Bill fans are, I'd love to hear it from him. But that wraps up another week here. Super wild card weekend.